Well, before we get going on our podcast, we want to say thank you to all of you. We know a lot of you have been listening and watching, and we so appreciate it. We're having fun. Right?
We're having a blast. I'm having a good time.
Before we get going, we need to tell the people that the only reason we're here is because of the sponsors.
Yeah, we'd like to thank Continental Diamonds.
Yes, Continental Diamond.
Yeah.
I went there, in fact, this week because I needed some necklaces unraveled that we purchased there.
They'll do that for
necklaces.
you.
I'm going there right after the show.
Life is better outdoors with By the Yard.
It is.
And Aquarius Home Services. They've earned the right to be recommended. Thank you for helping us out with weathering life.
Well, you know, the nice thing is that we started this podcast in June and now it's August and they're still letting us do it. So I think a few people are not minding weathering life with Bell and Lee. We love it. So we appreciate that you're listening and watching. And you know what? Some of your phenomenal comments and also suggestions we're listening, and they are going to be parts of the podcasts in the coming months as we head into the rest of August and September. We're going to kind of tackle some of the things that people are asking us.
Yeah. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, because people want to know like certain subject matters, let's just say.
Yeah. It's not always sunny.
No, it isn't. And,
no, but
and
I
think
can
a lot
be.
of people are going through things and they'd like a little advice. And so we don't have the advice. Oh no, we don't know what the hell we're talking about. But we do have people in this community and people we know that do.
Yeah.
And we're going to tap into that knowledge.
Yeah.
So we're excited about that. But it is August, early August, and you are fishing. You're going fishing on one of the biggest lakes in Minnesota.
Rainy Lake.
It's also in Canada.
Yes. And we're going to Canada one day, next Tuesday.
So when you pass over to Canada and you're on the lake, do you have to like show somebody the passport?
Nope. There's a lot of rules though.
I bet.
So we get a fishing license for Ontario. We're in the International Falls, just outside International Falls. The family has a cabin on Grindstone Island. My brother-in-law.
Oh, exciting.
And it's really cool. An island on Rainy Lake. It's before you get into the national park. Now, Voyager National Park, this is this is the hidden gem of Minnesota.
Oh, it sure is.
Oh, it's just beautiful. And if you ever get the chance to camp, if you do go camping, you have to have a boat to get there. Have you ever been to Kettle Falls Hotel?
No.
Oh my goodness.
My dad has. My dad talked to me about it.
Best burger ever.
There's thousands of islands on that lake. That lake is so massive.
Yeah.
How do you know where you're going?
You have that thing on your boat that shows a line where you came from and how to get back.
Good.
But so we fish a lot on Rainy. The walleye is amazing.
I bet.
It's so much fun to go walleye fishing all day long.
So what's the size limit there? What can you keep?
I think you can keep anything under 17 and anything over 24, 26, something like that.
Oh, so then they keep those big ones in the lake.
And then when you go to Canada, we do that for one day. We take a guide up there. When you go to Canada, it's all centimeters. So
you quickly do
you better not have one that's it was right at 18. No, in Canada, it's got to be 17 and 3/4,
how
It's
exciting.
interesting. But, okay, so you asked about the rules. You got a ticket to go or a license to go fish in Canada for a day. You cannot get off your boat. You cannot
get on the land.
You cannot get on the land.
Oh, you have to stay.
Yep.
Nautical.
Stay on your boat.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's okay. We're fishing.
Okay.
And the guy takes us
and then the
all
Canadians are on the shoreline going, hi,
waving.
Don't do that.
No, there's strict. Yeah, you got to follow the rules.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Is this something you do every year?
Yes. Yeah. And we'll be doing it all next week and just fishing
Our
every day.
tradition's wonderful.
I
And you
know.
look forward to them the whole year.
I know.
And by August, it's above 50 degrees up there.
And I've caught some big walleye. Can we show some walleye pictures? Okay, I caught some big walleye.
I'd love to see that. All right, we'll look for those.
Fishing.
I'm kidding about the weather, but sometimes it can be that's like one of those last lakes that of course has ice out.
Yeah.
I think ice out happened like 9 minutes ago. So
yeah, and we've had a few storms up there. And that's one lake, by the way, you do not want to be on when it's storming. We got caught one time, and I'm not kidding you. The waves were coming over the boat. I'm like,
It's a massive lake.
I couldn't wait to get to land. I said, I want to get off this boat because we're going 25 miles out on this lake,
Just don't go to Canada. Just got to go south, get into the United States.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of weather, our guest today is a meteorologist. And, people ask people that become meteorologists, did you always want to do it? And I always refer to the fact that I wasn't someone that had a thermometer on my cradle. I wasn't someone that was born to be a meteorologist. I think our next guest was my mentor, Paul Douglas, is our guest, and we're going to talk about him. But I just got interested because I grew up on the river on the St. Croix, and I was a tomboy, and I was always outside with my brothers and sisters. In fact, my mom just said, "Stay out," because the house was clean. Once the house is clean, stay outside until the supper whistle, And so I spent so much time in nature that I think that because I was so interested in nature, weather being such a big part of that, that's why I ended up being a meteorologist, just because of nature, but also because of this gentleman, Paul Douglas. He's the reason.
Maybe I'll ask him too, but I'm going to ask you really quick because I grew up in the St. Croix Valley in Stillwater. And my dad, we used to live right above downtown Stillwater on 3rd Street, dead end 3rd up on the hill.
Wow.
But my
Beautiful
dad,
spot.
when it stormed really bad and there were tornado warnings back in the day, he goes, "We're okay. We're close to the river."
Because we're in a little bit of the gully.
And if a tornado comes, it'll lift as it gets to a river. Do they lift when they get to a river?
Not always,
but don't tell me that.
But not always. But water can play a part in changing the atmosphere around that microclimate atmosphere.
That's what
is
he
going
would
to be
always
different.
tell me.
And so that people have said that they've seen that has probably occurred. But don't count on it.
No, we had a tornado
Make sure
up on
go
the
to the
hill.
basement.
And one went through Grant, probably about 25, 30, 40 years ago.
But the topography plays a part because you're down further.
Yeah.
The water plays a part. The river's not as much water as, let's say, Mille Lacs or something big. But yeah,
it always made me feel better. I thought, because we were living by the St. Croix River. He pretty much
just lied to you because he wanted you to go to sleep. It's going to be fine. Or go to the basement. Go to the basement.
Go to the basement. You'll be fine.
All right. We are talking weather on Weathering Life with Belinda Lee and Paul Douglas coming up next.
Whether you're hosting family gatherings, enjoying a quiet morning coffee, or relaxing around a fire table on a summer evening, By the Yard has outdoor furniture built for moments that really matter, crafted from durable, maintenance-free materials and backed by quality craftsmanship. By the Yard furniture is designed to look beautiful for years to come. I love my By the Yard maintenance-free outdoor furniture. Visit a showroom in Maple Grove, Woodbury, or Jordan, or shop online today. By the Yard. Life is better outdoors.
I love Continental Diamond. And the reason I love it is because there are so many things that they know there that are so difficult to understand when it comes to how much we should spend, how to get things fixed, how to, of course, get a beautiful item in any price point. We're talking about a family-owned company since 1981. It was voted best jeweler by Minnesota Bride magazine for 16 consecutive years. So if you have jewelry needs, or you want to figure out how much something is worth, or you need something fixed, all of those things, go to Continental Diamond.
You know, we all love summer. That is until your air conditioner decides it wants to take the summer off. My air is so cool thanks to Aquarius Home Services. If your AC is running nonstop, blowing warm air, or making sounds that definitely weren't in the owner's manual, well, now's the time to do something about it. Whether it's a $79 AC tune-up, a repair to get you up and running, or it's finally time to trade up to a new cooling system, Aquarius has you covered. And right now, when you upgrade, you'll get an additional $500 off on top of their summer sale pricing. Because nobody wants to spend the summer wondering if tonight's the night the AC finally gives up. Stay cool, comfortable, and ready for whatever summer throws your way with reliable, energy-efficient cooling from Aquarius. Schedule your appointment today at AquariusHomeservices.com. Aquarius, earning the right to be recommended.
Well, we're back with Weathering Life with Belinda Lee, and I am just so excited and honored to have my mentor, Paul Douglas, Doug Kruhofer. A lot of folks don't know that his name is
I always
Doug
thought you
Kruhofer.
called him Doug because of Douglas.
No,
Your real name is Doug?
So when you started in weather, did they just go, hey, what? They asked me, what do you want your name to be? And I thought, I think I want it to be Belinda. But then they said, oh, are you sure? So with you, what happened?
You have a perfect name.
Well, they
And
asked
so do
me.
you, Lee.
They wanted to change it, but my mom
Well,
wouldn't
what's
let
up
them.
with Kruhofer?
Well, that was my reaction too. But I was a senior in high school, and my first radio job, a little 500-watt AM daytime station, and I met this kid in study hall. This is how careers get started.
Yes.
In study hall, I knew he had his own radio show, and I was impressed because he was in high school too. And I introduced myself, shook his hand in study hall, which by the way, I aced study hall. I was
Good at
so
that.
good in study hall. And I said, hey, why don't you have your own weather person on the air instead of the National Weather Service, Rip and Reed? And he looked at me and he goes, that's a good idea. Here, let's get on the phone with my boss in Columbia, Pennsylvania, WHEX. And so I got on the phone and I started chatting with his boss. And he goes, well, you have a pretty good voice. What's your name? I said, Doug Kruhofer. Long pause. He goes, what? I go, Kruhofer. It's not that hard.
No.
But back then, all men in radio, 2 first names.
Yeah.
Dave Ryan,
Yes.
right? Paul Douglas.
He said, most of our on-air staff can't say their own names, which I thought. And he goes, what's your middle name? And I said, Paul. All right. You want this job, $25 a weekend. You're going to change your name to Paul Douglas.
That's
oh my goodness.
such a great story.
So before the
That's
break,
so
I
cool.
talked about there's some meteorologists in the
That's so-
world that have a thermometer on the cradle. You are one of those. I was not. I was just a nature kid who came around, and you're the reason I became a meteorologist, really, because I wrote a paper about weather. But let's talk about this. So Pennsylvania, growing up, why did you want to be a meteorologist? Or why were you so interested?
Couple of great science teachers in middle school who made the weather unit come alive. I was a Boy Scout, an Eagle Scout. Weather Merit
You were
badge was
outside
a
all the
favorite.
time.
But I think the tipping point was when our home was flooded by Tropical Storm Agnes in 1972. Came home from a vacation, opened up the door to the basement, and the water was literally lapping at the top stair.
Oh my goodness.
And my mom started screaming. She was traumatized. We had a lot of family heirlooms in the basement. They were all floating now. So anyway, and a guy drowned in the stream behind our house, and I saw them bring his body up to the ambulance.
How old
And
were you this time?
I was 14.
So that was a moment.
That was the moment. And I think a lot of meteorologists were traumatized as kids by something, whether it's lightning or a tornado or a flood. You weren't traumatized?
Well, no, my tree house that I used, it was big enough that I could have sleepovers in it. It was really cool on the St. Croix behind our house. Fell down in a storm that was a tornado in the field east of us. When it came through the river, it was wind, and then it became a tornado. A squall line that became a tornado.
How old were you?
And I was 8.
8.
So I
Okay.
was curious. I think curiosity was the reason.
I know we're going to talk about the movie Twister because you kind of show up in that movie, but that was the story of her in the movie
Yes,
because
her town was ravaged by tornadoes.
and
It's
she
right.
wanted to figure out everything she could about a
Yeah.
tornado.
Okay, so that's interesting. I bet that's so true. And these days, so if you're interested in it, you never know. If you have curiosity, go figure it out, right? Then it might end up being a career. Or for me, I had a great science teacher too, Mr. Gavin, God rest his soul. And he was a pinnacle teacher to me. And he said to me one day, he's like, well, and he was kidding me, of course. He's like, well, you're not as smart as your brother Dan, but he goes,
He said that out loud?
He did, but my brother Dan was a genius though. And he goes, so, but I think you should write a term paper. And, I went to Madison, you should go to Madison. And so you like this earth science thing. So write a term paper about weather, about meteorology. And I'm like, okay. And then the only meteorologist I knew was you. I watched you.
That's sweet of you to say. Didn't you click around?
We did not click around. We watched CARE 11, WTCN
Really?
at the time. And so I
wow.
called you and you answered the phone and I interviewed you and I wrote it in my 10th grade term paper. And
you
I got an
answered
A on the paper.
phone.
A on the paper.
I got an A on the paper. And then I ended up in the backyard working with you. And then you ended up moving along and I got your job. So you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
But you're the reason. And I appreciate that so much. I tell this story a lot. And I know you say it kind of dates you, but it really is just a pinnacle moment. And people need to remember that. Answer the phone. Remember to talk to people. Remember to be a mentor. And I am trying to be a mentor because of you.
I remember when you came up with the backyard. I thought that was the coolest thing ever. I didn't know you. I'm like, all of a sudden he's out in the backyard. And you came up with that whole
It's a
thing,
funny
right?
reason, right?
Well, here's the thing. My first job in television was Wilkes-Barre Scranton, and they had a backyard. They literally aimed the camera The camera guy got to stay indoors. They they had a little window in a garage door, and I was outside, and the news director said, yeah, it's a little unconventional, but viewers seem to really enjoy watching the meteorologists suffer, on the snowy, cold days and the rainstorms and the hail. So I'm like, all right, I'll give it a try. By the way, they paid me $50 a weekend, and they put me up at the luxury budget hotel in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. 2 words you generally don't see next to each other, luxury budget. But I loved it. And I loved, like you, just talking about the weather. And so when I got to WTCN, we had nothing to lose. I mean, we were 4th or 5th in the ratings at 10 o'clock. I think we were getting beaten by Leave It to Beaver reruns.
That is the story. That is the story. You were getting, that's right.
So,
because at that
weren't
time,
you going up against
that time, CCO, KSTP, there was no KMSB.
Bud Kraling, wasn't Barry Zavan?
Barry Zavan.
Over on
yes.
Channel
Mike
5 back
Fairborn.
then?
And Barry Zavan, to his credit, when the job opening came up at Channel 11, he encouraged me to come to Minnesota. And I'll always be grateful to Barry, and I miss Barry. He had a big heart.
He did.
And he said, you got to go. Go for it. You'll love Minnesota. They'll love
Bud
you.
Kraling and everything else. And
I remember
Ron Majors. And
Yeah.
before all the computers, I remember Bud Kraling would put a sun, like a Velcro sun on the board. Back in the day, that was a long time ago.
That's
In
yeah.
TV, the
So
old,
you
Bud
weren't
was the
you weren't
real
winning.
deal.
So why not just break a hole in the cinder block wall down the road at Care 11?
Exactly, but maybe take it to the next level. And I remember we were in a conference room, and I just brought up the idea. I said, my last job, I did the weather outside, and people seemed to like it. It was, gimmicky. Okay, it was different. And it's all about differentiating yourself, standing out, in a world of gray, be a bright color, or try to be, so people remember you. And the executives looked at me like I was insane. They go, you know how cold it gets here in January, Paul? And I'm like, oh. But they did. To their credit, Gannett came in. They had gobs of cash. They had this secret superpower by the name of Paul Majors, who they brought in from San Diego, who, by the way, I've worked with a lot of amazing anchors. Majors had the ability to lift everyone else up. He made everyone else better. He realized the sum of the parts was much greater than any one individual performance, that everybody worked together, the team chemistry. And so he didn't just think of himself. He thought of everybody. And whether it was reporters, photographers, he would go around before the show and greet everybody in the newsroom. And I was always gobsmacked by that. He was genuinely interested. And again, he elevated everybody. And I think
And
that
so
was one of the
talented
keys.
and not tough to look at. I'm just going to say. But I mean, we watched. I think my mom had a crush on him. I mean, we watched. That's what we watched.
Yeah.
And then the cool thing about the backyard is that you always said, and I've stole this line from you, is, you're out in the weather that you either forecasted or didn't forecast. And if you didn't forecast rain and you're under an umbrella getting swamped, you better explain yourself.
Exactly.
And that's what's cool about the backyard. Full transparency all the time.
And you took the whole backyard to the next level. You did.
Well, we've planted more
and
flowers.
You
so.
upgraded the backyard. Suddenly there's a waterfall and all this stuff and
and the coats,
Yeah.
you know,
coats
the coats
and the gardening.
and the gardening.
They wanted me to do gardening. My heart wasn't in it, and it showed. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like putting lipstick on a pig.
The
No.
petunias were dying back then, and then Bobby Jensen came along, and things started growing better.
Well,
so
no, I'm very proud of you. I've always, although I'm not that old, I always felt like a proud papa, and I still do. That.
Well, then I ended up interning for him, and then I ended up calling him again in Salt Lake, and I got a job in Salt Lake City. And you said, "Yes, go take the job." I took the job, and then you called me and said, "Come back to Care." And I came back in
It was
1990
the weekends, right?
weekends in 1993. Yeah,
And I remember telling management, I said, she was here. She's perfect. She's local. She's fantastic. She knows her stuff. She's easy to
fun.
look at.
it was very
and-
rough at the beginning. So I really appreciate you in so many ways. Let's talk about this, because you always said that television was a great career, obviously you really loved it. But you, along with television, had a lot of other companies that you created, Earthwatch in particular. And so tell us a little bit about how many, 7 companies?
I'm on my 7th and final company right now, Predictix.
All at the same time, or just one
after
the
one
other?
after another.
Oof.
Sort of a serial entrepreneur. You do one and you're like, oh, that wasn't so bad. Although I think it's a little like women in childbirth. You have amnesia. You forget the
how
tough
bad it
moments.
was, yeah.
The time we mortgaged our home in Bear Path to make payroll. And my wife, I swear to God, she was going to kill me. I slept with one eye open because she was pissed. And she had every right to be, because we risked everything to keep it going, which in retrospect was probably
But it was your
stupid.
dream. It was obviously something that you really cared about so much. Earthwatch in particular, when we ended up going on the air with these 3-dimensional graphics that were so cool, but it was so long ago that you had to render them overnight for them to work, if you can think about that. That ended up on Twister, and it ended up on Jurassic Park.
Jurassic Park.
Talk about those 2 things that happened.
And what is
Earthwatch was 3D. I was bored with our weather graphics. They were fine, but we looked the same as Channel 4 and Channel 5 and Channel 9. I wanted something different. I went to an AMS conference in Reno, and a Japanese gentleman, very bright guy, got up and gave a concept of 3-dimensional weather over Japan, flying through the valleys, simulated rain, lightning. It was incredible, sort of a space shuttle Walt Disney view of the weather. And I remember asking him, I said, can I license this for the Twin Cities? I'd love to show Minnesotans the weather in this format. And he laughed at me and he goes, you need $5 million supercomputer. Do you have $5 million? And I said, well, will you take a check? So he pissed me off. And I went back. The 3rd developer I went to was able to take the vision and start creating these 3D graphics that you can kind of like a video game in a weird way. And we leased a Silicon Graphics workstation. Care 11 was the first station, the only station in the Twin Cities to use this. And somehow news got to Steven Spielberg's company, Amblin Entertainment, that there's this guy doing 3D weather. So I get a call from one of Spielberg's people who said, we're making a little movie about dinosaurs. It's called Jurassic Park. Steve would like to have your graphics in the control room scenes. Are you interested? Okay, I just read the book, Michael Crichton, and a great book. And I said, yeah, sure. So stupidly, we spent hundreds of hours taking Hurricane Andrew imagery, 1992 hit South Florida, and draping that over this mythical Jurassic Park
Island.
And then flying in from different vantage points to create the effects that Spielberg wanted. Went out to Universal Studios for the filming. My developer, who created Earthwatch, I was just the stupid idea guy, but he's the guy who created everything, the coder. And he had to hide underneath a desk and keep hitting the space bar to do what Spielberg wanted to do. So every time I see those scenes, I still laugh because I know that Craig Burfind is hiding under the table.
I never knew that.
But
it is in the movie. It's prominent in the movie. We're going to show the video of it. It's prominent in the movie.
And that was fine. And then 2 years later, less than 2 years later, we get a call. Hey, we're making a movie about tornadoes. It's called Twister. And Steve loved having your visuals in Jurassic Park. Are you interested? I said, okay, yeah, tell us what you need. Meanwhile, my partner, Craig, the coders, this is a waste of time. This is a distraction. This is a boondoggle.
Because you talk about, did you make any money out of the first one?
No.
He said, no, there's no money.
At one point I called them up.
Can you believe this?
And I said, where can I send the invoice? I mean, we put hundreds of hours into this to create what
Jurassic
you wanted.
Park.
He goes, we're not going to pay you. And I'm like,
that's why Steven Spielberg probably did really well.
And I'm like,
Wow.
wait a second. You guys aren't a nonprofit. You're not a charity, are you?
Oh my goodness.
501(c)(3)? No. I think you're a for-profit. You're a capitalist like me.
So So when
And-
Twister came around, you said, guess what? I want to be in it then, right?
What Spielberg did say eventually was, we're not going to pay you, but you can send out a press release with your name and my name. And that will be enough.
That's all he did.
And you know what?
So
All that
it's
mattered.
worth it.
If it's good enough for Spielberg, it's probably good enough for a news director in Des Moines. And so we sold hundreds of
Because
licenses.
of that press release.
It was marketing. It was
Oh.
unconventional marketing, as seen in Jurassic Park and Twister. And news
Spielberg
directors-
knew that. He's like,
He did?
Oh yeah.
And
well,
so,
I don't,
crazy.
yeah,
So
that's,
this
he
was the-
still should have paid you though.
no, it's
But
fine.
you had a line in Twister. We're going to play it. But what was your line in Twister?
Excuse me, doctor, here's your effective appointment. Hey, Doug, what time of day is it?
Hey, Bryce. You better get over here and take a look at this.
Day-to-day velocities.
I think some people have said that it's the highlight of the movie.
It is. I started screaming when I was in the theater.
Nobody has ever. My mother even said, "I missed your part. Did you have a line? I didn't hear it." So it's the F5 is just starting to form,
And of course, it's forming at 8 a.m, 5 a.m. That never happens. But anyway,
and by the way, I never thought I would have a line in the movie Twister. I walk into the set. It's a barn in Ames, Iowa that they've converted into a weather center, and it's 100 degrees. They have the air conditioning on, and they turn the AC off when they're filming, so there's no background noise. All the actors and actresses were sweaty, so they kept putting powder on our face. And I come walking in, and they're like, "Hey, do you want a line in the movie?" And I'm thinking, big love scene with Helen Hunt.
let's go.
And they were not thinking that. They said, "No, here's your line. Hey, Bryce, you better come here and take a look at this." And so after the 8th time, the director, Jan de Bont, said, "All right, it's good enough. All right, let's move on."
You know, the other cool thing that I learned when I came and listened to you speak for the Rotary Club in Excelsior was that they had to move the production of Twister to Iowa because it was a drought in
Yes.
Oklahoma, where the SPC is, the Storm Prediction Center is, and where the movie, of course, was supposed to be in Oklahoma. But at least Iowa had some weather. So they shot it in Iowa, but they pretend they're in Oklahoma,
They
right?
pretend, yes, everything was shot in Iowa. Yeah. It was brown in Oklahoma. There were no tornadoes. There were no clouds. As you said, there was a drought. And so, yeah. And by the way, there was never any plan to take a couple of hundred actors, actresses, extras, film crew on the road chasing actual tornadoes. All of those tornadoes were digitally created. Industrial light and magic. And, you know, it was 1992.
It was good for that
They did
time.
okay. They did okay.
So where do you go now that you have that? And like your partner said, hey, we got to be doing the other things. So you start selling them to what company does that lead into?
Well, I went to Chicago. We used this, which, you know, in retrospect, a 3-day weekend would have been long enough, but I had to try it. And I was getting pushback from new management at Care 11. They wanted me to get rid of my business. They wanted me to sell Earthwatch.
So right when I came to Care 11, about 6 months
You're still on
later,
me, yeah.
he left and he went in May. You went to Chicago.
Yeah, it wasn't my first choice.
No.
But when somebody
too bad.
says you can't do something, it's like, yes, I can. It wasn't like I opened a restaurant or a hardware store. I was creating weather
graphics.
technology that you were using exclusively on your air. I wasn't selling it to Channel 4 or 5. It was exclusive, but it was a control thing, I think. Anyway, went to Chicago and realized that, well, by the way, the guy who I left at Care 11, who made all these demands, followed me to Chicago and fired me in Chicago.
Stop.
Yes. So, funny how life works. I come back to Minnesota not to be on CCO, but to run Earthwatch, which is still going, the 3D weather graphics. I'm here a few months and we sell the company. Not for much money, but it was time to move on to another idea, another shiny object. And that's when CCO called up and said, hey, we're losing our chief meteorologist. Are you back to stay? And I said, yeah. So
then, and so was Mr. Barlow against you then, because we had Ken at that point, and we're like, oh, Paul Douglas is back in the market. Oh no.
And I called Care 11 first, but
I know you did.
You can't put the toothpaste back in the tube. And
well, you know what? Yeah, and you of course have reinvented yourself so many times. It's so remarkable when you think about things. Let's backtrack for a minute, because I did bring a Sky 11 little.
Speaking of tornadoes.
Yes. This past month in July, on July 18th, 1986, actually 40 years ago. Can you believe it was 40 years ago? It was an amazing night. Talk about that night and what happened.
Afternoon.
Yeah, you're right.
there was no tornado watch. There was no tornado
It was sunny in
warning.
downtown Minneapolis.
It was
The
sunny.
Aquatennial was going on, the block party.
5 minutes before air, it was 4:55. We get a call on the scanner from Sky 11 from Max Mesmer. There's a tornado forming over Brooklyn Park. I am diverting. They were on their way to another story. Max Mesmer, the pilot, who some people say was crazy. I say he was brave. He used to rescue mountain climbers in Switzerland, and he rescued troops in Vietnam.
I would say
He was used to a certain amount of danger.
risk. Yes.
And literally like a minute or two before 5, we start seeing video, live video of the tornado, the funnel. And I'm like, oh my God. I
is.
thought they were just messing with me. There is a tornado that kind of forms spontaneously, one cell sitting over northeastern Hennepin County. And we throw the entire newscast out the window. And they're like, we're running into the studio on the air, and I'm pointing to my Doppler radar. Every time they lost the live video feed, they would come to me with kind of a look of shock, deer in the headlights.
Talk about it.
Because, and the producers are like, just keep talking, Paul. Just keep talking. And Majors is looking at me, shrugging. And I'm looking at him shrugging.
But it's the first of its kind. I mean, this never happened before.
Get an actual video.
There's no playbook. Live during a newscast, just keep narrating the tornado in real time.
And the fact that he got so close.
And can we go
too close.
really quick back to that exact same moment? I asked Belinda before you got in here, have you ever seen a tornado with your naked eye? Seen it. You've seen videos and videos. I am on the 50th floor of the IDS tower doing traffic for Metro Traffic Control that night, 40 years ago, a couple weeks ago. And I am live with Don Vogel on KSTP AM 1500. And I'm going to be doing traffic. But he's doing something else. And I go, Don. And he goes, just hold on, Lee. We're not doing traffic yet. I go, but Don. And he goes, just hold on. I am watching the tornado come out of the sky. And I go, Don, there's a tornado touchdown in Fridley. Take it, Lee. Go. What? Where? When? How? And
so you're both doing the same thing.
Oh my gosh. And they led the Channel 5 news that night with me going, there's a tornado coming out of the sky. I actually was sitting there actually looking at it. Now, down below me is the Aquatennial block party. It's sunny in downtown Minneapolis.
They're partying down there.
Yeah.
They're partying, having fun.
Yeah.
I'm looking out towards Fridley, and there's a tornado on the ground.
Max,
and
so
that
close.
guy's in the air.
Max, so close. And then Tom Empey, the photojournalist. I mean, so that video that ended up live, that must have been remarkable. I can't even imagine. But it did a lot for science. It was a watershed moment, really, because no one had been that close. Maybe probably shouldn't have been that close. But again, Max was amazing. So
one measure of how unusual the video was, people were spellbound. Not just in Minnesota, but NBC took the feed nationwide. And so we got calls from scientists in Oklahoma doing tornado research. Because this thing was a white tornado, the sun was shining on it and gave it kind of a ghostly white, almost semi-transparent look. You could see the individual trees getting ripped out.
That's what Max says, doesn't he? Say the reason he had to depart the area it's because of the debris.
Yep.
By the way, a quick side story. At one point, Paul Majors says, Max, where are you right now? And Max goes, stand by. And a minute later, he said, I'm at the corner of like Zane and Boone. I can't remember the exact where he was, but Max had actually gone down to street level and read a street sign
To see
and then
where he
went
was.
back up, which the FAA kind of frowns upon. I think Max got his hand slapped by the FAA, but it was a extenuating.
Where are you, Sky 11? That's what I remember that. Where are you?
And I was worried that a tree branch would fall through the rotor blade. So I'm pleading with Max to
Yeah,
keep
you
his
are
distance.
live on the air. You're doing that.
But it was just mesmerizing video. And we were so lucky it hit, well,
At news time.
and,
You're already.
and a park, the Springbrook Nature Center,
Oh.
right? And it caused a lot of damage. And they still have amazing visuals. If you go up to Springbrook, they have documents and photos, and you can still see some of the damage, some of the roots, some of the tree trunks haven't been touched. So, but I was worried that this thing would start going through a subdivision, a neighborhood with schools and homes. And what do you do? How do you narrate a live tornado if
When
stuff
there's
is getting,
lives.
if people are getting sucked up
So
in real time?
as Belinda said, that video helped so many scientists. So that was the first time somebody got a look at the tornado
that close.
that close.
It
and
says a quarter-mile views of debris, structure, and vortex behavior were what they learned.
Yeah.
Because they were a quarter-mile away,
It
looking
was-
back at it.
It was almost stationary, Bill.
Mm.
Most tornadoes, as you know, move 20,
Oh.
30, 40
It
miles
was
an
just
hour,
sitting there.
preceded by hail. And you usually can't get that close. But Max and Tom were able to
was going
keep
up and
circling
down
it
and-
and
yep.
going up
Yep,
and down.
Yep.
So almost like a 3D scan of this tornado in real time. And I don't think there's been a tornado since that has been that photogenic. It's almost like the tornado wanted to have its picture taken. It's just crazy.
So as we talk about Fridley, that tornado, then you go to the History Center, and we were talking about the tornado exhibit they have where you can sit in
Mhm.
and listen to the night the tornado hit in Fridley
65.
in 65, and Charlie Boone
Yep.
doing that broadcast on
He
WCCO
saved
radio.
so many lives. Chapman and Boone going back and forth. And it was sort of the original social media. You know, hundreds of people at home calling in.
Harmar Mall.
Yeah.
I mean, so much was affected. That track was, we did a story on it on one of the anniversaries. I mean, that track started in the Southwest Metro and went all the way past Fridley. So, I mean, so many people were affected. Don Moldenauer became a meteorologist. He worked for you. He worked with
Yeah.
me. He became a meteorologist because he was in his basement when that happened.
So is
as a
that
little
what
boy.
you call it, a tornado alley?
No, just that track
That
was just-
Fridley area?
You know, I've heard those rumors that the western and northern suburbs, if you look at 30 years, you could make the case that, okay, yeah, maybe more north and west. If you widen out the view and go back to 1950 or 1940, there's no real local tornado alley. And if a tornado's big enough, it's going to hit a city. And that's what still worries me. We have tornado apathy. We haven't had a really big outbreak since 65, and people start to let their guard down. Well, I live in a city, I live in a suburb. We don't get tornadoes. Yeah, we do. They're rare, but we have. And so, you know, and you know what it's like to be perpetually paranoid. Like, what fresh hell awaits? You know, what's going to happen today? And our biggest fear is missing the big one and having people say, where were you? Why was there no warning? I'd rather be accused of hype than being accused. Paul, were you napping? Where were you?
Well, we're not on daily anymore, which kind of helps, I think, both of you a little bit.
The blood pressure has come down.
Yeah, well,
a
we're
little bit.
decades and decades and decades of being really just so present and so intense with trying to figure out the chaos theory. I think that's one of the reasons I
both
step
of
back.
you have been in that business for so long. Have you ever heard back from a viewer like, thank God you saved my life? And you probably did.
Well,
But maybe they don't think of calling the radio TV station and saying, oh man, if we didn't hear that, we would have been, I don't know.
Well, I think sadly, the ones that stick are the ones that are like, why were you breaking into the PGA?
Yeah,
I was
always.
watching Oprah.
I know.
I don't care. That tornado's not in my neighborhood. I don't care about that tornado.
I was on the air for hours when the St. Peter tornado, Comfrey tornado
wow.
hit, and they were very upset until they saw that
What
St. Peter
happened.
was destroyed and that people perished. And then they stopped, calling in or
Yeah.
writing in back then. But yeah, I mean, you know what? It's part of the business. It just comes with the territory, right?
You do the weather for free. They pay you to put up with some of this other stuff, right?
Right. Exactly.
I'm sure it's an important job, man. You saved a lot. It's this
thank you.
important job.
It was very fun and at times very difficult, but I was honored to be able to do it for 36 years.
And you did an amazing job.
Well,
And there
and
will never be another Belinda Jensen. And I wouldn't want to be the person coming in after you. I'm
John
sure
Ziegler's
he'll
doing a
do.
great
I'm
job.
sure John will do
And
great.
Ben Deary and Jamie Kegel
But it's
and
just
Courtney
it's
Aiken.
human nature to compare, right?
Yeah, no.
Compare and
Well,
contrast. But
you
you
as
took
well.
it to a whole new level, and I'm very, very proud of you. And
It's nice to have you here to talk to you and just to talk through all these things because it makes me so happy about all of the experiences that we've had together and that we've had separately that I know about you and you know about me. And we have a little shelf, so you brought a little something.
oh,
I brought these little wings, but you brought something even better.
I did.
Now, is that Minnesota? Even though you're a Pennsylvania guy, you have keep coming back home, and now Minnesota will be your forever home. Is that the main
I
reason?
love that.
Minnesota is home. I've tried other places. My friends are here. Most of my family is here. Wouldn't dream of.
And you love
going
living on
You have
anywhere.
a
those
you have a
lakes.
cabin up north, and I'm telling
You
you,
have a cabin on Pelican.
I'm up in Danbury, but I'll have the windows open in the early morning, and it's a little cool, and all of a sudden you hear, "Stop it! There goes the blood." That's the best
And
sound ever.
It really is amazing how you feel when you hear that. I don't know what is that.
It's a loon.
It's the
No,
loon.
I know, but what is that feeling? I'm feeling right now. Is this?
It's just heaven.
I
It's just-
think we get a little slice of heaven between the lakes and
It's
the
not
loons.
traffic.
And we have something very special in this state. And I'm proud to be living here. It ain't perfect. No place is, but it's good enough. And, you tolerate the winters because the summers, where else would you want to be? Where else on the planet would you want to be? And we're also launching a new weather channel, by the way. This
Is it going to be called the Loon Channel?
it's called the Weather Loon. Weather Loon.
I love it.
Oh, I don't know anything about this.
It's
this your
streaming
eighth
on
company?
YouTube.
Is the
Yeah,
eighth?
no, it's one of many things we're doing. We're trying, but it's a Minnesota Weather Channel, and we have about 10 meteorologists that are on this. I do one segment every week, and we're having fun with
So you
it.
can watch it on YouTube.
YouTube, it's free. You can watch it on your phone if
Minnesota
you can get YouTube.
Loon?
Weather Loon.
Weather Loon.
Just Google Weather Loon.
I love
And
it.
it's free. No ads, at least not right now. We have one sponsor. And
You know what else? You have been the mentor to me, but think about that. You now have how many young meteorologists over the years have been able to start in this career because of you? Because
I
you've
don't-
had these companies where you've employed them.
you know what?
Congratulations on that.
Pay it forward. I think humans are pretty similar. We like to highlight our differences, but we all want to love and be loved and make things better and make a difference. And I think we should all pay it forward. If life has been mostly good to you, pay it forward, help somebody else, pick up the damn phone.
Right?
I
When
just
Belinda's
this,
calling.
This notion of the
Anyone's calling.
self-made man or woman, it doesn't exist. We're here because of parents and grandparents and crazy uncles and guidance counselors and teachers and professors and mentors and investors. One person can't do it alone. And so
Can
There's
I
a
draw
reason
back
for-
the curtain on TV weather, seeing one person or one station can't do it alone? One time you told me, and I don't know if this is you, that when a big storm's coming, you have conversations with Chris Schaefer and Ian Leonard and whoever, from the other stations, like, let's not go crazy until we need to go crazy, or let's kind of coordinate a little bit. And now you see like Mace on every channel. He's on 9.
Well,
He's on
no.
4. He's on 11. What the hell? Where's that guy come from?
I might talk to those guys before a big snowstorm, but I think that.
Did you ever talk to people before?
I mean,
a
we would
storm?
talk before a big snowstorm once in a while,
Not
but
really.
I think what we did, and I appreciate what you're saying because we are friends. We're all friends, and we all have this same like interesting kind of wacky job. But I think what you're referring to is what he started and what I continued, which was the calm before the storm. Let's not get excited unless we have to. And if we get excited, then you should get excited because we don't want to hype things up that don't need to be hyped. And we always did that at CARE because of you and because of people before you, probably as well, your predecessor. And then I pushed that with my team of meteorologists. And I would still say that my team and your team and ours have always been the calm before the storm. No, I don't know about Ian and Chris, but no, I'm kidding. They're great. They're great people. And Mr. Barlow as well. But
we're blessed with great meteorologists in this market because only Manchuria in China has more extremes than Minnesota and the Dakotas.
the Super Bowl of weather. Here
The
we
Super
are.
Bowl of
And
weather.
I'm telling you, people watch the news for the weather. They do.
I agree.
Especially now.
Well,
Especially
yeah,
now. By the
yeah.
way, I got to tell you a quick story. When we're doing Care 11 Saturday, and normally I'm out doing something silly, on Care 11 Saturday, but this time they needed a host, and it was December 1st. And Belinda says, "Why don't you host with me?" Because I don't know who was gone. It was with Eric or Frank or somebody. So I said, "Okay, I'll try it. All I have to do is read the teleprompter and follow Bella's lead. I can do this." So here we are, December 1st. I've never hosted before. It's you and I. We're starting the show. And just before we were going to go live, it was like 5 seconds, and there's a blizzard. It was snowing. It took forever for me to get in there. She turns to me and she goes, "Do you really know how many people are watching right now?" Like, scare the hell out of me.
Really?
She goes, "The whole
You
Twin
were
Cities."
messing with her?
Oh, yeah. The whole Twin Cities is watching right now. I'm like,
Because of the
"Oh."
blizzard.
And it was a bad storm. I mean, it took
Everyone
forever.
was stuck in their house,
Yeah.
which is nice. You've got a trapped
Good for
audience.
ratings.
And
Yes,
he-
a trapped audience.
He's
Yeah.
telling me, "Do you realize how many people are watching right
Well,
now?"
they were happy to see you. Let me tell you. Here's Lee. Let's talk about the blizzard a little bit. I drove in for 4 hours. Oh my goodness.
And we don't root for violent weather. We don't. I mean,
gosh, no.
although you're sort of judged on that, a couple of big days,
Yeah.
how did we do with the snowfall predictions? Did we do okay with the flood coverage? It's the big days that people remember, not the typical day like today.
What is your forecast?
My forecast?
Personally.
Your personal forecast.
I'm thinking a lot about legacy and what I can give back. I think it's essential to write checks, but sometimes it's too easy to write checks. I think it has to be something that's meaningful for you, and something that you want to grow when you're gone. And I admire people. Both of you, I can't keep up with the number of charities you've supported, philanthropic, helping others, which is why we're here to help people. It's not complicated. We're here to help people. And so I struggle with that a little bit. And I've tried to do that for my career, but I'd like to do more. I think the measure of a person is not what he has, but what he gives. And so make it tangible. And so I obviously want to try to hang in there as long as I can and see as much of the world as I can. I'm not very smart. Ask my wife. But what I
Well, she is really smart.
what I lack in IQ, I try to make up for in persistence and curiosity. And I've always surrounded myself with really smart people. And that has made the difference with being able to sell my companies, grow my companies, survive the inevitable downturns. If you surround yourself with smart people who have skills that you don't have, you've got a shot. You've got a good shot. Pick your friends carefully. And so, I'm grateful, and I hope to hang in there as long as I can. And, people talk about quality of life. I want quantity and I want quality. So I'm trying to take care of myself and help my friends, help my family. We have 2 grandsons that are the light of my
Congratulations.
life. And it's like God gives you a do-over when he gives you grandkids, because you can lease them. You're not buying them. You can give them back. You're renting them.
And I love the decades that we've known each other because I remember when I first met you, you were just having your first son. So now look at that. Now you have grandchildren.
And Jordan, my 6-year-old grandson, loves the weather. I got him his own weather station at home. I come over to their place and they're watching YouTube videos of tornadoes and hurricanes. And Jordan is just obsessed with the weather. And I came to his kindergarten class in Minnetonka and gave a talk to his kindergartners.
That must have been great.
And one of them asked how old I was. And I said, 67. And there was this groan, this audible groan that went through the entire group of kids. And I'm like, yeah, I know I'm old, but really? You're groaning? And I mentioned that story to Jordan's parents. He goes, oh, did you say 67? Yeah, apparently 6'7" is this thing now.
Oh, that's
with
why.
kids.
Oh, no.
Alex is right away giggling.
Just to mess with grown-ups like we did for our parents. 6'7", 6'7". So they said that's probably why they groaned.
Oh, I'm going to get your grandson, Belle the Weather Girl books. Going to get the books because people that are way into it love the books.
Thank you. He would
nuts. I will get you those.
He would love that. He
Yes.
would love that.
Well, Paul Douglas, Doug Kruhofer, Weathering Life with Belle and Lee. We really appreciate that we got to talk weather on Weathering Life with Belle and Lee.
I'm honored to be here with you guys. By the way, this podcast is getting some serious traction. It's getting some buzz.
Well,
I have more people. Have you seen what Belle and Lee are doing?
well, now we have this. Wait.
That's
Oh,
going on
man.
the shelf.
That's all we need.
Is this shelf worthy?
Yeah.
It's
and when we
shelf-worthy.
need it, we know, oh, that'll just calm
Perfect.
us down.
Maybe when it's time to wrap things up. Just
This
give
is the
people
end of it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Doug.
Thank you, Belle. Thank you, Lee.
Thanks. There you go. Thanks. We'll see you next time on Weathering Life with Belle and Lee and Loon and Doug.
Who?
And Loon Weather, yes.